Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bunk and Pick podcast. Pick here with Bunk. Bunk. Say hello to
Hey,
people.
oh, we got the bunk here. 2020. Oh, we already did 2025. Okay, we're still in
Yeah, we already
2025.
did 2020.
I know, we're still in 2025. Can you believe that? We're back.
We have a whole year of it.
I know. Hey, we got some exciting. We're working on some stuff. We're working on some stuff for the cast, for the potty.
We absolutely are. Yes, we absolutely are.
So,
Slowly but surely, we're getting everything put together.
We
for
are.
sure.
We're going to have it out soon. We're working through some of the technicalities of it, but we're going to have some good stuff coming very soon. And then
Technicalities of
technicalities. But I tell you one thing we got to, I had a request from one of our listeners that said, you got to talk about some of the food stuff more, food and drinks. And
Yeah.
I said, you know what, you're right, because we had Luke from Suburban Bourbon Burn, and everybody liked that one. He did a great job, and I know we had some stuff early in the season. So I think we need to get back to that and get some more food stuff going. Food and drink,
Absolutely,
definitely goes with sports. So I think that'll be good. So we'll work on that. We'll get some stuff going for you guys on that, and then we got some other cool stuff that's going to be right around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're pushing to try to get this stuff as soon as we can. Be patient, because of technicalities, of course.
Technicalities.
But we're definitely going to get it there. But if you're not following the social media, things like that, that's definitely where you want to go to kind of see the updates on what's coming. Once we get stuff launched, we're probably going to post it on there. So definitely keep up with that as well.
Definitely. Well, before we get into sports there, Pick, what kind of new stuff you got going on? What's happening with you?
Right now I'm feel like I should have a plague doctor suit on, because literally everyone in my house is sick but myself. So.
That's funny. Hey.
I'm a little worried that a sore throat will be hitting soon, and then a fever to follow, but we shall see, my friend.
You can watch it coming. Everybody in your family has it. You can just watch it coming at you. So it will hit you,
that's
definitely.
The worst part.
I know.
That's the worst part. I'm literally just sitting here waiting.
And I understand. So, one thing that I want to say, I was in Dallas this past weekend for granddaughter's gymnastics meet, and it was snowing. Believe it or not, it snowed a lot.
That.
It snowed a crazy amount. We went up Thursday afternoon. Luckily, we got there early on Thursday afternoon, because it was some crazy snow. But we got through it and got the old 4-wheel drive going. Thank God. I'm sad to say it's probably the first time I've used a 4-wheel drive, except for playing.
How long have you had that?
Oh boy, we're not even going to say. Had it for a few years. There's no need to use it around here. But I did get to use it, and then I purposely ran through some snowdrift just to kind of make sure it worked good.
Just for fun.
It did.
Just for fun.
Friday we got up, and it snowed a ton up there on Friday. A lot of roads were closed, and it was kind of a little fun, quick trip. And granddaughter did great. She golded. She did a sweep on the gold medal sweeper.
That's crazy. She is going to be very good at that.
She is good. She's really good.
She's very, very good at that, which is really cool to see. It's like a sport that we know nothing about. So,
well, we were talking, me and Mrs. Bunk were talking. I mean, your kids too. You got one that's wrestling and one that played lacrosse. Who the hell played? Nobody did that growing up. We didn't do any of that stuff. I mean, that was just some crazy stuff. Gymnastics, nope, didn't do any of that. We were the traditional baseball, football, basketball crew, and we did have some soccer every once in a while. So, it's funny. It's good. It's cool.
It is cool. And learning, I've had a lot of fun with the wrestling, because he's in high school now, so he's doing the high school path, which is awesome, because I don't have to coach, A, and B, I can kind of stay out of it and let it happen. But learning the rules of wrestling, there's a lot of stuff I didn't know. And just kind of learning those rules as we go, and he's doing really good. I'm really proud of him. He had a really cool pin. That last the leg cradle pin was really good.
He did. I gotta tell you, I hadn't talked to him. I know I was there watching it, and then we didn't stay to him. But that last kid was like pushing him on the head. I was like, what the frig is this guy doing?
He was so mad about it.
And he was doing the monkey squat thing. What the hell was that? I know he did get mad because he started pushing the other kid back on the head. I liked it.
A little bit harder.
Yeah. And then he pinned his ass. So that was a good thing.
Yes, he did. It was fun. It was really fun. It's been cool to kind of see we're past it now. I'm old. I want to say that I could play these sports still, but I would not have a back anymore if I tried. So it's fun to watch the kids go through it. I feel where you were with all 5 of us now, Bunk.
It is, yeah, I know. It is actually, once you get past the, like, I can't play anymore, it's kind of fun just to sit back and watch. And then we have when, Big G's daughter's down there playing ice hockey, for crying out loud. What the hell? That's some crazy.
Enforcer. She looks awesome.
The kids are all doing some good stuff. I kind of like that they're doing different stuff. I don't think baseball and football and I don't think it's the same as when you guys were young or when I was young. It's not the same type of leagues, and unfortunately, and I think it's kind of that's changed. So I'm happy to see him doing other stuff. I think it's good for him.
The problem with all those sports, I feel like now, is that you're either playing it year round or you're not playing it at all.
Yeah,
and that's so unfair. I mean, when we were kids, we were told to play everything, to try everything, and they're not telling kids that anymore, which is really strange. They're like, oh, you want to play baseball? Well, then only play baseball. You want to play football, offense or defense? Only play offense or defense.
Yep.
It's kind of weird to see. And at the high school level, we're seeing they have, like when I was in high school, we played football. You played both ways. You just played. If you were good, you played. Now they don't. They have offensive guys or defensive guys, and you don't really play both ways. It's very strange how it's all set up. So I'm happy the kids have chosen sports where they can it's a little more free, a little more individualized, and they can kind of take their time on it. But I do have a question for you there, Bunk.
Yes, sir.
See, I'm seeing it now with kids. How nervous did you used to get? You had 5 of us in different sports. I didn't think I would get as nervous as I did watching.
Oh, I hated watching, and I coached a lot of stuff too. And it was, I didn't hate it. Obviously I loved it, but a lot more nervous than when I was just playing myself. Cause I wasn't nervous when I played sports, but watching your kids play or your grandkids play, it's definitely nerve wracking. I mean, I take it, your son was wrestling. That kid was hitting him on the head. I was getting pissed. I was like, you little bastard. and he did the friggin' monkey thing. I was like, what in the hell is this guy doing? I was actually so happy he pinned that kid. It was awesome. Yes. But he was torquing me, man.
The best part is I'm like, yeah, you did awesome. Great job. He goes, yeah, I know, I won. Hey, can you get me Chicken Express? Like, are you not nervous?
Nah, that's how we all were too. You guys too. When you're in it, it's different. But yeah, it is definitely
some fried chicken.
It's harder to watch than it is to play. I will definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So,
yep.
I feel you, Bunk. I feel, man, you had 5 of us doing it.
Yeah, we were some busy birds, that's for sure. I liked it. All right. What, man, we got a little bit of sports to talk about, eh?
We definitely have some sports to talk about. I think because the last 2 podcasts kind of dominated the college football talk, we should probably visit that a little bit. I got to tell you what, nobody gave Texas a chance, and they had a chance.
Yeah.
No one gave Quinn Ewers a chance, and he is the reason they had a chance. That 4th or 3rd down play when he was almost to his knee, threw the ball out. He made some really smart plays. That play calling at the goal line, though, man, what the hell was that?
I'll say this. I know you can criticize that. Sark's a great play caller, and sometimes I think these guys just outthink themselves. Number one, but the other thing too. I mean, if that works, nobody says a word, and I mean, the kid, I think they were expecting him to run up the middle. I think he was probably figuring, let's try and get him outside. In hindsight, I'm sure he's not thrilled with the call, but I mean, it is what it is. I thought they played a great game. They definitely had a chance there at the end. But that last sack was just a killer. I mean, you can't let that guy in. I mean, he's their best player.
No. Right.
And then, even if he didn't run it back, it was at that point it was over once they got the ball. They weren't going to, go back in and score again. So, but I thought it was a good game. I thought Texas played well. I think Ohio State is going to have more trouble with Notre Dame than people are sane. I think Notre Dame's a decent team. And I'll say, I'm going to say, I know you're disagreeing with me. Notre Dame has a more mobile quarterback, though, and I think that may make a little bit of a difference. So that's my take on that.
A more mobile quarterback with a worse arm.
He has a worse arm, but he's not going to have to throw it downfield. He can hit,
he's going to have to throw it downfield.
I think it's going to be a closer game. I really do. I think Ohio State's going to win, unfortunately, but I do think it's going to be a closer game. And I don't think anybody thought. I think everybody was picking Penn State, including all of us, to win that game.
Penn State. Okay, Penn State should have won that game.
They should have. And I, you know what, I very rarely will say it's like somebody's fault. Man, their quarterback played like absolute crap. He played bad. He overthrew everybody, and it wasn't even like an interception at the end. It just was throughout the game. He missed so many like open guys. They really, it shouldn't have even been real close, but he didn't perform well.
It definitely felt like nerves got him. It felt like he was just you could see it in his eyes, big eyes, and you're like, oh man, it's going to be a long day. But I mean, they got the ground game running. Katron Allen had like 90 yards in the first half, and then he was a ghost in the second half.
Yeah.
They didn't give him the ball anymore. They kept going to Singleton, which he is a great back too. But both of them get their yards when both of them are running the ball. You can't just focus on one.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think there's a lot of more of the coulda, woulda, shouldas in that game than there was with Texas. I think Texas, maybe question that last set of plays, but I think the rest of the game I thought was well coached and well played, and I think Quinn Ewers did a great job. And at the end of the day, Ohio State's a tough team, man. They're hard to beat.
Yeah. Here's a question for you. So it came out that Arch got hurt, and that's why he wasn't in there on that goal line.
Oh, really? But I didn't see that.
Would that have changed the play calling? Do you think they would have had a better chance at the end zone with a bigger mobile quarterback getting in? Or because the play calling would have changed, you would think, right?
Do you
think it'd be about the same?
But here's the thing: when he runs, he generally tries to run a little bit around. I don't think his run would have been a whole lot different than that running backs, to be honest with you. And they're just hard. You can't get around the edge on those guys. I don't think he would have made a difference. Maybe if he was more mobile and like it was a passing play, but they generally don't call him. They don't have him in there for passing plays when he comes in. So if he comes in, he's running. I don't see him running it in from where they were. I think he would have had the same issues. And then they would have went back to Ewers for the pass anyway. So I didn't know that I didn't realize they said he got hurt, but interesting.
They put him in concussion protocol after that hit he took.
Oh, where he kind of almost fumbled there? Boy, that was close too. That was actually really
got hit right in the back of the head.
He did. He
did hard.
Yeah.
They didn't call. Man, I'll tell you what. They missed a lot of calls, but you can't put that game in the refs' hands. I feel like both games they didn't call very much holding at all, which I'm more of a fan of. But in some of those big situations, there were some pretty bad holds.
Yeah, I agree.
That happened downfield that they didn't call at all. That could have benefited both teams, but at the end of the day, I mean, Texas just got outplayed at the end. It wasn't necessarily play calling or anything like that. The defense was in the game the whole time. Texas just could not. They had 53 total yards on the ground. Yeah. You can't run the ball. Sark's offense does not work. It just does not work.
No, and Ewers made some great throws that a lot of those guys couldn't make to keep him in the game. So I hate to admit it. I think on that day, Ohio State was probably the stronger team. And I think defense on Texas played outstanding. But man, Ohio State, they just keep coming, man. They're tough to defend. And I don't think Notre Dame will beat them. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout either. I think they'll. There's
a pathway for Notre Dame, and it's getting pressure on Will Howard. Texas just showed you he makes a lot of mistakes. He did it at K-State. He makes mistakes if you get pressure. If they can find a way to get exotic blitzes, which they've done a ton this year, and I'll tell you one thing Texas didn't do that Notre Dame will. They will play man on the outside. They will play man and put their corners on islands to bring extra pressure. Let's see if that if they can get there fast enough, let's see if that's going to work, because that's the recipe to win that game. Get to Will Howard.
Yeah, and they got to keep it close. They can't let Ohio State run. That was the thing. Texas, they didn't let them run way out and head like Oregon let them do. Because even in the Oregon game, now you can say that they let off the gas there, but they didn't. The second half was a whole different game, or they were just Oregon was way too far behind. So if you can hang with them and keep it close, Notre Dame pulls crap out of their butt all the time. I mean, you never know, man.
They do.
And the quarterback can, he can do some stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how it is. But I feel pretty strong that Ohio State's going to go ahead and beat them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Ohio State takes it. I just hope for a good game. I want it to be close. If the way that Notre Dame's offense runs, if they end up behind by 21 after the first quarter, that game is kaput. That's done.
Oh yeah, no, they can't. That's what I mean. They're not going to against Ohio State. They're not going to. You can get down by 7, 10 maybe, but if it's more than that, you're not catching them. It's going to be tough.
Absolutely. All right. Last thing, I know we went through a lot of that, and honestly, a lot of the preview we did last week kind of pertains to this game that's coming up. But I do want to say one thing before we do move on is to all the people that gave Quinn Ewers shit, think about the Charlie Strong and Tom Herman eras when we said we had quarterbacks that could pull us out and they didn't. But you know what? Quinn Ewers pulled us out of the rut. He got to 2 semifinals, college football semifinals, with a Texas team that hasn't seen success like that or known how to deal with success like that in 13 years. I think he was a very good quarterback for Texas. He's top 3 in almost all stats ever at University of Texas. So for all the people that say he doesn't show up, go back and watch both those Alabama games. Go back and watch some of those bigger pressure games. This year he had a hard time because he had no run game, 0 run game this year. And he had to manufacture a lot of it on his own. So for all those that give him crap, I understand Arch Manning's behind him, but Arch Manning's not going to be Vince Young either. Vince Young is Vince Young. We're never going to see that style again. It's going to be different people. So I think he was amazing for the university, and he did a lot to bring back Texas to kind of being that national powerhouse that they are.
They're in the CFP 2 years in a row. I mean, and he's a big part of that. So I agree. Number one, actually, I would hate to be Arch Manning at this point, the guy who everybody's saying I want in, because you and I both know he's going to make mistakes next year. I mean, then what are people going to be yelling? I don't even know who the backup is or will be, but I mean, it just gets to be ridiculous at some point. It's just like, they're playing, and you can watch the pros. Those guys make the same freaking mistakes. But
oh yeah,
the good thing about Sark is he's stuck with him. I don't think he, at least outwardly, never questioned that he was the QB1, and he stayed with him. And I think they had a great year. I mean, they're in the top 4, so you can't complain.
Yeah, absolutely. So good to close the chapter on Texas for the year. Looking forward to the national championship game. And it's just one step closer to baseball for us there, Bunk.
Oh, man. I'm itching. Hey, one more note on college before we go. So you see Carson Beck transferred. First he said he was going in but I understand he got hurt. And I think the feedback on him was that if you can't work out, we don't know where we're going to draft you. But then he went to Miami. So I'm curious to see how that one works out.
But why did he go to Miami?
I don't know. Why did he go to Miami?
Because his girlfriend goes to Miami.
Oh, his girlfriend does go. That's true.
And
they
offered him $4 million.
And they're saying now a lot of the receivers are going to go follow him. I never had him as a top 5.
Which receivers?
Oh, I don't know. I just read that he's going to have receivers following him there. Okay. I don't know why. He did okay. I thought he was good, but he made a lot of mistakes. He had a lot of interceptions at Georgia. And I don't blame him for coming back because he got hurt, but I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I'm assuming that Drew Aller has kept his promise to go back to Notre Dame or to Penn State. I'm sorry,
he's staying at Penn State.
And
he's coming back.
And Quinn is going in the draft. I haven't read anything different than that.
He said yes. He said, they asked him, do you expect to be in the NFL next year? He said, yes.
Yeah. And I think the window's just about, they only have like a week, don't they, after their
Yeah,
final game?
they have a couple more days
yeah.
Here, but I think this is when the transfer portal kills football, college football.
Yeah.
It's like Quinn is like, he's going to go down as somebody that was, yes, underappreciated, but a Texas quarterback, right? If he goes somewhere else, he's not Texas quarterback anymore.
No, I think he's, I argued with you a little bit about this, but I do think he's going to go ahead and go pro. And for him, he doesn't need to be a top 2 or 3 guy, because honestly, those guys are going to be on some shit teams, and they're going to have to start right away. And if they're not if they're not like a Jaden Daniels right away, they're going to get absolutely destroyed and by the fans, and the pressure is going to be too hard. So I don't blame. I mean, he can go somewhere where he can sit behind somebody, for a year or 2 or 3 or whatever, and I think that would work out. I mean, Colt McCoy made a living for 14, 15 years, starting and being a backup, but he was good, and I think he'll be fine. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that for sure.
So did you see? I did see him interrupt, but I see Penn State, their running backs, Allen Singleton, are coming back for 25.
So, I know they want to win.
That, what, that's great news for Penn State. And with the quarterback that quarterback absolutely needs another year to mature. They might be some monsters next year.
They need wide receivers.
Yeah, that's true.
Badly. They need somebody to kind of step up, because Tyler Warren's gone. And that was 1,200 yards production this year. The next up was in the 700s.
Yeah, he was the man.
He doubled. He was amazing.
He was.
Good. They need someone else there for sure. All right, kind of as like, I guess, a segue from college to NFL, I do have some questions for you, right? So we saw it pertains to the draft, and we saw some of the bad teams win in the last week, which is awesome. So barring no trades, do you think Tennessee is going to stick with who they have? Or do you think they bring in a quarterback with that number 1 pick? Is Levis the guy?
If I was them, I think I would bring in somebody else. And I just don't think this is a strong quarterback class. And Will Levis, his biggest issue, he turns the ball over like ridiculous amount. But
yeah,
he's still, he was, I would give him another year, and they have a lot of needs. I would find a different need this year. Now, whether they do that or not, I don't know. They did give him, it seemed to have given him several chances. I just don't see these quarterbacks that are going to be at the top tier being able to jump right in right away and be successful. I just don't see him being successful. I think Cam Ward may have the best chance, just because he's pretty laid back. He makes great throws. He's got a strong arm. He's not jumpy, back there when he's playing. Sanders, I think he's going to struggle. I think he's a good quarterback, but you're talking about going in. You're talking about right now going in and starting.
Did you see where they're projecting Shador?
Well, I've seen several. Which one are you talking? The Giants?
I'm seeing the Browns.
Well, I mean, the massager got hurt again.
They have to. Holy he ruptured his Achilles again. They have to take a quarterback. They have to have something.
They may, but I also saw where Primetime is wanting to go and coach at Vegas.
Yeah, but he said he'll only coach if both his sons are on that team.
He did. Well, number one, he didn't have to worry about his second son. Nobody's picking him, so he can pick him whenever he wants and pick him as a free. I mean, come on, nobody's friggin' picking that kid. Let's be honest.
Somebody will pick. Somebody will pick him because of the name. Look at LeBron. Look at LeBron's son.
Maybe,
same thing.
But he's going to be like day 5 or some shit. He's not going anytime soon. And Shador, I mean, It'll be interesting to see if he goes to the. Oh my God, the Browns is like a friggin' the dark hole of life.
Yeah,
every quarterback that goes
the
there,
worst place to go.
No quarterback has been successful there for years. Going back to friggin' Bernie Kosar is about the last guy I think was worth the shit there. Oh,
If I was Sanders, I would be praying that Tennessee takes me at 1, because if they take Cam Ward at 1, Cleveland has to take a quarterback.
That is interesting.
They have to do something.
I do think Cam Ward is head and shoulders number one in this class, the number one quarterback. I don't think
he goes to Tennessee. He goes to Tennessee then with the number 1 pick,
which would I think would be a good pick. Maybe if they go quarterback, or they could trade it.
They could trade it, and that's what I'm. There are veteran quarterbacks out there. Sam Darnold still doesn't have a contract extension with the Vikings.
Darnold is going to be an interesting one. Or do you get rid of J.J. McCarthy?
They're not going to. No. They already came out and said he's not going anywhere.
Oh, wait. Kirk Cousins, which I think he still has a year or so left in him.
Not in that Falcons.
No, not with the Falcons. He's done with the Falcons.
They said they're very comfortable paying him $40 million to be the backup quarterback.
He's not going to be comfortable.
Doesn't make any sense.
He's not going to be comfortable being
somewhere else.
Yeah, he's not going to be a sit on the sideline guy. He has more money than he needs. It's not a money thing, I don't think, with him.
Restructure, go to Tennessee. You live in Nashville, good city, good for your kids. Go to Tennessee, play a year or two there. Let Levis learn behind him, because their games are pretty comparable. And the quarterback class this year is not very good. It's not. So You're going to bet on somebody that's drastically worse than the past 2 years that we've seen, and the quarterbacks that came out in the past 2 years have struggled. Another question that I have is, where will Joe Milton go? Because they can't. New England can't have him as the backup the whole time. He looked amazing that last game. That had to have been a tryout, right, for other teams. Where does he go?
That's true.
What do they do with him?
That's true. I mean, there are some guys out there that can still play. Russell Wilson, I don't think he's going to be back in Pittsburgh. Be honest with you, he actually didn't play that bad. Let's be honest. Now he was okay. He's not his old self, but he's an upgrade for a lot of these teams. And I just don't see him back in Pittsburgh next year. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't see it.
So does that mean Justin Fields takes over as a starter?
I think he may. I think they may do that. Or maybe they try and go get another number 1 QB1. I don't. I mean, there's talk about Tomlin maybe not being back. Would be crazy, wouldn't it? He's been there. That would be crazy. Forever.
Their fans have turned on him. Their fans have turned on him.
Did they? I'm going to tell you, they lost the last five or six games. That there was no way they were going to go in the playoffs and win. They just did not look good, and their defense absolutely sucked at the end of the season.
Baltimore did whatever they wanted.
Oh my God, it was horrific.
Man, Derrick Henry is an animal.
He is, but Pittsburgh is built on defense, and their defense is not good. I mean, they're not good. It was
bad.
So
it was bad. So
I think he'll be available. I think he's available. I think there's going to be some guys out there.
So I guess what I'm saying is if you were a team and you see the trend of the last 8 years, where literally 2 rookie quarterbacks have panned out, it's C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels this year. Who else? Right?
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix has been good, but Bo Nix is more of that system than this incredible playmaker.
Yeah, I agree.
Sean Payton has his quarterback.
Yeah.
That is going to work for a long time. So Bo Nix is going to have an amazing career because he's in the right system. That's what I think. If I were one of these GMs, I would be knocking at the door of teams that haven't extended somebody that played well. Sam Darnold. He's going to get a contract. You could probably go out, pay him $35 to $40 million a year and not the top shelf of quarterbacks and get production. Now, how much of that is being in that system in Minnesota, right? Where it is O'Connell makes the most quarterback friendly system ever. We saw Kirk Cousins left, and he was hot garbage this year. So,
Yeah, he
like
didn't play well.
how much is that a factor?
I think Darnold.
So,
If Darnold now they're saying that they don't want to let Darnold go, which would be a smart thing to not let him go. He's done well in that system. And then why would you take a chance on the rookie and let him sit? McCarthy can sit another year behind him. I mean, that's not the end of the world. I kind of think they tend towards keeping him, but I do think there'd be some guys out there to trade. I would rather trade this year. I'd rather trade for a quarterback than take a gamble. You're right. I mean, outside of like Jaden, and a couple of those guys, most of those rookie guys, they're not ready for the pros. Not immediately.
No.
And
no, go get somebody. I mean, go wait second or third round, get somebody that can develop behind your starter. Quinn Ewers is going to develop behind a starter and probably end up with a better pro career than some of these guys that, and I'm not just using him because he's a Texan. Yeah. Just in general, you look at Drew Brees came in behind the guy out in the Chargers, right? Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. He was a second round pick.
Yeah.
It's their second day pick. So it's there. You can, and probably you should take them and sit them behind somebody and honestly load up whoever you are. The biggest problem on most of these NFL teams that were bad this year, bad quarterback play, yes, but that's because they're young. The offensive lines have been atrocious.
Yeah.
On some of these horrible teams. Go get big bodies and protect those young guys. Spend the money on a right tackle. Why don't they? That's like gone. Why aren't they doing that anymore?
Well, the only guy I've seen up is the kid from Texas is rated. They're saying he's like a top 5 pick because teams that have a quarterback are, for the most part, then they're going to go for him. I don't know. This is going to be a weird draft, but these guys, they start looking at their fan base. You don't look at the Giants. Their fans want somebody. You can't go get somebody's. I'm sorry, I don't think you can go get somebody's backup.
Giants,
you got to get somebody that's a frontline guy, or you got to try and move up and take a shot at one of these other guys. But they're not going to sit pat and watch that kind of crap. I mean, I think Cleveland's probably in the same boat. I think honestly, maybe Tennessee they might have a little more. I mean, Levis is not an old. He's second year or something. I mean,
I think it's his third or fourth year. Yeah,
he's okay. I mean, I think he just needs more time. But if you look at all these teams, I mean, even down in New Orleans about Carr, I mean, is he done? Is he good? No good? I don't know. He was hurt a lot this year.
But I think Spencer Rattler's good enough.
Rattler's not
developing
bad.
Into a very good quarterback.
I think so
they
too.
Do have a long-term plan there. I just don't. I wouldn't see them. I think they need more. They need weapons to help out the backfield. They need better receivers in New Orleans, and they need, honestly, an offensive line. So, if I was New Orleans, I wouldn't make.
No, I don't see them making a move. I think Derek Carr is going to be there for another year or so, and Rattler will be behind them, and I think they're fine. But it's going to be fun.
What does a team like Las Vegas do though? Because they have nothing. That might be.
Literally
the Giants
have nothing.
Horrible. They might be the worst. They have one player. They have Max Crosby.
They're bad.
Anything else on that team?
Well, they got Brock Bowers, and
the Brock Bowers. Yeah, absolutely. He's amazing.
Their quarterback situation is a mess. They have. Well, they fired the coach, so I think honestly, Pierce would have kept with O'Connell there or Aiden O'Connell. Yeah,
Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew.
No, Minshew's a backup dude. He's not a starter.
Yes.
And Aiden's not a freaking starter. But I think he would have stuck with him. They got to have a frontline quarterback over there, and I think they have to trade for somebody. So that's why I'm curious to see what all this stuff about Sanders and if that actually comes to fruition. He's not going to go coach out there unless they can guarantee him they can grab his son for the quarterback position.
Right. So, I mean, you trade back. Yeah. I mean, you would have to convince Tennessee or Cleveland to trade back.
You would, and you would almost have to. I mean,
because New York's not trading back.
New York's not.
The Giants are not.
They need to trade up to try and get somebody. But they're going to make a mistake of trying to trade up and grab one of these kids that's not going to pan out for them in New York. New York needs a mature guy there.
It's just the media is so brutal.
Oh my God, they are horrific in New York, and the Jets are in the same position. Jets have no quarterback either. So
I will say that the media feels way harder on baseball players in New York than it does. And we follow baseball maybe a little bit harder, but it definitely feels like the baseball players get a lot more flack than the football players do.
Oh, they do. They do.
The New York teams have been bad forever.
That's what I mean. The baseball teams are actually generally good. The football teams have sucked for so long. There's really not that great of an expectation on either of those teams. I think everybody thought that Aaron Rodgers was going to be a savior, and he was an absolute dud, and I believe he'll be retiring. I mean, if he's not, he's an idiot. But he's not going back to the Jets. Jets have no quarterback. They got nothing.
So, no, there's that team is bad.
Yeah, they're really bad. And we'll see who they hire as a coach. So, yeah, they have a coaching opening too.
As far as coaching openings, I just kind of start segueing into other stuff here. Did you see that Las Vegas rumored that they're trying to have Brady aligned people?
Yeah.
So the GM and the coach are aligned with Tom Brady.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Move? I don't know how being a quarterback in the pros makes you an expert on being a GM or any of that stuff. I think it's stupid. I mean, they want his input and they want him to help pick. And I don't know, man. I'm not a Brady fan to begin with. I mean, he was a great player. Don't get me wrong, but I don't get that. And I think they're going to do something stupid. They always do. That team, when they're in Oakland and in Vegas, they've done stupid shit. They always do it. And I guarantee you they'll do it again. It's not going to be any different.
Well, Al Davis has chosen to have that haircut. So if he's chosen to have that haircut, he's going to choose horrible.
They're just not. I mean, they're just not. They're just not. It's not a great organization. I mean, they just don't pick players well, and they don't pick coaches well either. So, I don't know.
Really,
that's a mess.
What's been a good? They haven't had a good coach since Gruden. It feels like
John Madden, last one.
No, Gruden.
No, well,
Gruden
before Gruden.
Yeah, Madden.
John Madden.
Wow.
I mean, they don't. They just don't. They just don't. And they're going to be a mess for a long time. They have no players. I mean, that is a team that literally has nothing. So I give it to the Jets. They have a running back. They got some receivers. The Giants even have a little bit on defense, but the friggin' Vegas, they got nothing. They got one friggin' tight end and a defensive end. And literally, that's it.
Yep. And that defensive end is getting older.
He is, and he's got, I'm assuming at some point he's probably got to say, get me the hell out of here. I mean, God, they get destroyed every year.
It's bad.
It is bad.
It's going to be interesting. All right. Enough about the bad teams there, Bunk. Let's talk about some good teams. We saw some pretty good games this week. Some blowouts for sure, but some of the stuff you kind of saw coming. But first, let's go game by game. So the first one, we talked a little bit about it, but the Ravens Steelers. If the Ravens are running the ball like that, and the Steelers, don't get me wrong, I get it. They gave up a lot of yards, but they're still a pro team, and they're giving up like 300 yards on the ground. The Ravens, if they can run the ball like that, I think they grind out everybody. How do you feel about it?
Derrick Henry's a difference maker, man. Without him, they're not even. It's a different team. He is their MVP. To me, he's their MVP. Now, the problem with them is if you get behind, they can just run Derrick Henry, and I have yet to see anybody stop him. I mean, I haven't seen any team stop him. I mean, he's that good, and obviously their line is good too. And then when else, when he can run, Lamar can do his thing. So they're going to be a tough team to beat. But they got a tough. We'll get to the next round, but as far as the Steelers were concerned, the Steelers they limped into the playoffs, and then they absolutely limped out of the playoffs.
Just happy to be here.
I don't. They were never even close to being in that game, and that was an ugly game, I thought, for them.
It was an ugly game. Russell Wilson is not. He's probably got a few years left in him, like you said, but he's just not it, man. Not for that system.
No,
he's not. He needs creativity and big wide receivers around him. That's where he was at his best when he was up in Seattle. He did really well with big wide receivers around him and a really good defense that he could kind of manage the game on offense. He's not the type of guy that's going to put a team on his back and win it for them, but he's never going to lose the team a game. Honestly, the play calling was pretty atrocious when they were down late in the game, running the ball on consecutive downs when you're down by 14 with not like you have. I get it. Your quarterback's arm is not the best, but you have to throw the ball.
And their running game
find anyone.
Not there. Najee Harris is okay. He's an average dude, but you're not. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not Saquon.
No,
he's really not going to ever break anything long and just run away from people. So I agree with you. That was just stupid. That was just like running into a brick wall when they were running them.
Yeah, why are you running the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You have to do it, but I think if it's the last game of the year, I think you got to abandon that pretty quick and move on from it. But
you have 6 minutes left. You have 6 minutes left, and you're down 14. In the NFL, that's not very long.
No,
and you're going to run the ball twice and not take timeouts. Like, what the hell are you doing?
And I think that's the criticism on Tomlin right now. I think he generally doesn't get criticized, but I think he's being questioned a lot right now about whether or not he's the man still there. So I'll see what they do. I don't see him firing him, but maybe, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to see them move on from him because he's been there for. It's like I can only remember 2 Steelers coaches. They've been around, so Bill Cowher and then Mike Tomlin, and that's it. They both were there for so long. Who would come in? I mean, I don't know if there's anyone out there right now that'd be worth bringing in.
No,
I mean, Vrabel's gone. Vrabel just got hired.
Yeah, Vrabel went back to New England. And it's a certain, you got, the Pittsburgh team, you got to be tough and hard-nosed, and your quarterback has got to be like Roethlisberger. I hate to say it, but he's got to be like a big dude. He's got to be, tough, being able to run when he needs to, strong arm. And right now, both their quarterbacks are not that. They're small guys that, try to run away from that. That's not a Pittsburgh team. I think they got to get back to what they do.
Either. I mean, they need a power back.
Yeah.
That is Pittsburgh football.
Yep.
Run it down people's throats and run them over.
Agree.
It is crazy. I don't see them making the playoffs next year. If the way the roster is put together, if they stand pat and don't do much to upgrade, they're going to be in a worse situation. They lucked into a lot of wins, and earlier in the year, Justin Fields won them a few games. They sat him, and Russell Wilson down that stretch was just atrocious.
Yeah,
that whole team.
They were bad. Atrocious. They were really. I mean, they honestly, they weren't going to win. They've not even been close. They've been getting blown out on all their games and been getting beat by people they shouldn't have. So that was kind of an easy one to predict.
Yeah, so we'll get into that preview on the next game here in a minute, but let's go ahead and keep talking about these games that were played. Speaking of blowout, there were 2 more on the AFC side. The next game that came up was the Chargers-Texans, and man, holy cow, did Justin Herbert look like he didn't know how to play football anymore. It was crazy how quickly he deteriorated in that game.
They did not play well. He didn't play well. I mean, a couple of interceptions bounced off people, but in general, I really thought they were going to beat the Texans. Texas not played well here at the end of the season. And Stroud, he's been kind of erratic, but they played good. They played good defense. They played good offense. I didn't see that one coming. I really thought the Chargers were going to move forward on that, especially when they came out really fast. It looks like they might blow them out, but literally that was it. They scored 6 points. And it was done. They couldn't do anything.
the Texans' defensive adjustments
Yeah.
that quick were amazing.
Yeah.
They played probably the best defense they've played all year in that game.
I agree. They played well.
They're hot. They're a hot team. There's only so many times you can throw the ball to Nico Collins, though, before teams start tripling him. So
I know, but they
step up. Mechie stepped up.
They kept throwing it though. He kept catching them.
It worked.
I know it did work. I know you're sitting there going, "Shit, they're going to throw it to the dudes. Cover him." I mean, it's easier said than done. But
just bracket him.
I know.
Bracket him with a safety in a corner.
I was sad to see my Chargers lose, but I will say I was happy they made the playoffs. It was a huge turnaround from the last few years. I think they're going to be fine.
Absolutely.
And I think he'll have another offseason to get the guys he wants in there. Harbaugh will, and I think they're going to be okay. They were never honestly strong enough to even if they won this game, they literally weren't going anywhere else.
But they should have won this game.
They should have won this. This was the winnable game. This was a winnable game.
What was they got? Rex Ryan came out and said, "This is just a bye week." He said it's a bye week. That was probably not good.
Rex Ryan. That's why he will not be the next coach of the Jets, I'm sure. But who knows? He
said that, and I loved the Texans coach. His post game. Did you hear him? He said, "I guess we weren't just a bye week."
I know. Rex Ryan's he's a big. You know what? I take it back. He's great for the Jets. He is a New York guy. Other than that, really he's good coach just an ass. I know. God.
He's a really good coach there.
Yes.
At the Jets.
Yes, that would be it. But yeah, the Houston just blew him out, man. That wasn't even close.
Yeah. All right. Last game in the AFC here. That Bills offense looks unstoppable as well. That looked really good.
Bills look good. But that was expected too. I think Denver did great getting to the playoffs. Nobody had them in the playoffs. But I mean, Buffalo's tough. And they're playing tough at home. Playing at home at Buffalo, come on, man. That's a hard game. And they, Denver just didn't have the guys for that. That's another team though, I think, good showing this year. Made the playoffs, still improve. They got a good quarterback now that they can rely on. So I think they'll be okay. They'll be okay next year too. It's good to see some of these teams in that haven't been in a long time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The Broncos have the foundation to make a run for a few years. And you at some point the Chiefs have to fall off, right? So you would think that the Broncos could kind of take over that division a little bit, but Chiefs haven't fallen off in a long time.
No, they haven't fallen off. And the Chiefs, even though you just see their, Mahomes and Kelsey have been there a long time, they do change their rosters. So it's a good team, good coach, good team. They're going to be around for a while.
Yeah. So it'll be good. But the Bills, man, it feels very now or never for them. It feels like they're on that teetering point of kind of scrapping and rebuilding around Josh Allen. If this isn't the year to make a run, the Ravens are going to be that feels like a shootout. I know earlier in the year they played each other and the Bills blew out the Ravens, but playoff football is much different.
And yeah, I agree.
The Ravens looked very, very good.
This is going to be a good game. I mean, it should be a good game. Josh Allen's never out of the game, number one.
Never.
So I'm looking forward to that one. I think that'll be good. And of course, I'll be going for Buffalo. What can I say?
Of course you will. Your fantasy league is over.
I know.
So you don't have to cheer for him anymore.
God, thank God. Yes.
All right, jumping to the NFC side. There's 2 games to recap and 1 game that still hasn't happened while we are recording this yet. But first one, Eagles-Packers. Man, the Packers came out and just had no chance. The Eagles dominated that game, kind of from start to finish.
How many dudes on Green Bay got hurt? My God.
A lot.
I mean, they were all getting taken off. I will say this, though. Offensively, Philadelphia didn't do much. And I know Boomer's listening. I know Boomer's listening. I know I messed with him. I was texting him, messing with him until they got ahead, and then I didn't text him anymore.
I know.
But I think Philadelphia is definitely gettable. Their defense looked good. but I didn't see much from their offense in Jalen Hurts, and I think they're gonna have a tough road on the next game. That's my guess, but I don't like them.
I mean, we're not sure who they're playing yet. It'll be either the Vikings or the Rams, which that'll be a pretty good game. But if the defense plays the way they did in that game, it doesn't matter if the offense gets going or not. The defense was unbelievable.
Well, the thing
now there was a lot of injuries.
There were a lot of but that didn't matter. I don't think Green Bay wasn't going to score a bunch of points anyway. I'm sure hoping Minnesota wins. I think Minnesota's defense can hold them. I think the Rams would have a very hard time with them.
Yeah, for sure. All right, other game, and this is the best game of the weekend by far as NFL goes. Commanders, Buccaneers, 23-20.
My boy Bake. Bake.
Guess how you beat them? You just don't let them on the field. The Commanders controlled the ball.
They did control the ball
for so long in that game.
They did. And, I've watched Tampa Bay play a lot this year, and I'll say it about them too. I mean, I was happy they made the playoffs, and this was a game they could have won either way, and they certainly could have won, but their defense isn't strong enough to move on past this round. They just, even in the games before the playoffs, they give up a lot of plays. And Jaden Daniels that kid's good, man.
You got to give him his flowers, man.
He's really good.
He's calm. Even when mistakes happen, he doesn't freak out. It never feels like he feels ghosts in the pocket. Even when he's getting rushed, he knows how to step. He feels like a veteran quarterback.
Yeah, he's
a rookie.
He's good, man. He's a good player. I was happy to see Washington win. I mean, I like Baker Mayfield, but I'm happy to see Washington win. It's a team that hasn't won in 20 years. I don't think they've won a playoff game. And
right, since Joe Gibbs.
Yeah, so good for that's a long time. Go back to Joe Theismann. But I mean, I was happy for him. I think they're competitive, and I don't think they're a team that does goes into a game and doesn't have a chance. They always have a chance. And they're playing well. I mean, they could. I think they could upset people. So we'll see how it goes, especially with the quarterback. That kid can throw, man. He's on the mark.
It's just they're running into a buzzsaw the next round. That's going to be a very hard game. They're playing the Lions, and the Lions.
Yeah, they're not going to beat. I say they're not going to beat the Lions. I don't think they're going to beat the Lions. The Lions are friggin' good, and
they are very, very good.
That's a tough game, but I'm happy they won. It would have been nice to see Baker win, but I'm happy that Washington won. They needed a win for the organization. New coach, new owner. They've done really well this year, so I was happy to see that.
Yeah, if you're the Buccaneers, you have to feel very encouraged about the division they're in and the path to get to the playoffs next year. So they have roster construction-wise, they're pretty good. There's a few things on defense they need to shore up. Vita Vea is awesome in the middle, but they need some edge rushers to help him.
Yeah, they need defense.
They need some edge rushers to help. Their offense is very good.
Offense is
Bucky Irvin.
Those guys are good.
Running
and
back.
Mike Evans, they have a good offense. Their defense, though, gives up a lot of yards and a lot of points. They got to fix that. Yeah,
focus on that. I think the biggest worry in that division next year is going to be the Falcons, and the Falcons always find a way to blow it.
Yeah, I'm no kidding. No kidding.
So you got to feel very encouraged if you're in the Buccaneers camp. You got to feel like you'll get there again next year pretty easily. I think they have the team to do it. So it'll be really fun to watch them next year for sure.
Yep.
All right. Preview on this. We got to preview that game tonight. Rams, Vikings. How do the Vikings feel like they take this game to me? It's 2.5. What's the path for the Rams to win this game?
The problem with the Rams, Minnesota has a good defense. I think and if the offense sputters on Minnesota, the Rams probably can stay in the game. But if Minnesota can get the offense going, I don't see the Rams doing much. I mean, McVay's a good coach out there. He'll come up with something, and they have some good receivers, and they're going to make some plays. But they got a really good defense. I think it's going to be a tough win for the Rams to try and get through. I think Minnesota wins fairly easily on this one. I'm looking at 10, 13 points on this one.
Oh, wow.
I just
I'm
don't
not
think the
quite that
Rams.
far.
I don't think the Rams can hang with them.
I think it's a 3 to 7 point game. Um, it all kind of depends. The Vikings are going to get theirs through the air. Their wide receivers are just too good, and they're like Hawkinson is amazing. What it's at tight end,
Mm-hmm.
but if they can't run the ball, that's a problem. And the Vikings, the games that they had trouble with is when Aaron Jones didn't get very many yards. They need to find a way to get him in space to make people miss because he's not going to be a power back guy that just runs up the middle over. He's not Derrick Henry, right? You can run Derrick Henry up the middle 15 times, and 5 of those 15 times are 10 plus yards. It's not going to happen here.
Yeah.
So how do they get him going? That's the game. The defensive front for the Rams is not quite as good as they have been for a long time. So if you can run the ball, you beat them. Stafford's a great quarterback, and he has weapons. They have a horrible run game, though. LA's run
They
game.
don't have a run
bad.
game, and he is on the run back there a lot. And
Yeah,
this is a good defense that's going to put him under a lot of pressure. He'll make plays. He's a good quarterback. He'll make plays, but I really don't see them. I mean, I don't see it very close, but if Minnesota can score and actually have some offense, I think it's not going to be close. Now, if they sputter, their defense will still win it for them, but I got to think Minnesota's going to be able to get some offense going.
it's okay. So you're at like 10 to 13 points. I'm at 3 to 7. Let's see where we're at on that one. Okay?
Yep. Sounds good.
All right. Winner of that one goes to play the Eagles. If you were a betting man, say Rams win, Eagles probably handle the Rams pretty easily.
I think that's I think that's not going to be a good game if the Rams have to play them. I think Minnesota can definitely hang with them just from a defensive and coaching and every other standpoint. They have the players. I think that'd be a much better game. I think the Rams would. Boy, I don't know. I don't see them staying in the game. I don't think they could stop the running game from the Eagles.
No. I think Saquon would have 150.
Yeah, I think that one get ugly quick. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Vikings is definitely the bigger test for the Eagles, and that's a very close game in my eyes.
Yep.
The Vikings against the Eagles there for sure. All right, next up, staying on the NFC side, the Lions Commanders. The more I look into this game, the less I see the Commanders keeping up.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell, that team is playing for him. And it's pretty impressive to kind of see what they're doing with the amount of injuries they went through, but they're still they're nonstop. They just keep going. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they score,
Lions
man.
Feel very good.
They score. They have great receivers, good quarterback. They got a great running back, and Montgomery's going to be back for this game. That's going to be hard, man. I don't see it. I don't see them hanging. I think that's going to be a fairly easy game. You never know, but I think the Lions take that one pretty easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that one. SK, next up is Bills Ravens.
I'm a Bills guy.
Let's see.
Where are they playing at?
It is in, I would say, the 2 seed, so I think it's at the Bills. It's a home game for the Bills.
I think the Bills take them.
Oh, man. I'm having a really hard time betting against Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson together.
Bills are good, though, man. And they can score.
They are good.
They can score.
Their defense has been their problem this year.
It has.
The defense has been the problem this year.
But I'm just saying, they can, if they get in a shootout, though, they can score. I mean, they can score quickly, very quickly. They can score faster, I think, than Baltimore can. Baltimore can move down the field. Buffalo can score quick. So I'm, of course, I'm not a Ravens fan either. So, but I'm still going with the Buffalo Bills. I still think the Bills take.
I'm on the Ravens on this
All
one.
right. We'll see.
I'm on the Ravens on this. We're split on that one. All right, last game, Chiefs Texans.
Chiefs.
How do the Texans win this?
Defense.
It has to be defense.
Chiefs have not been the greatest team this year. They're going to win. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it'll be close. Stroud can make plays. I don't see them getting beat though. And Kansas City, they win. They know how to win. They always pull them out. But I think it's gonna be a close game.
If you have to say, so here's my thing. If you have to say defense is what wins it for the Texans, then that means they're not letting Patrick Mahomes be Patrick Mahomes, and nobody stops Patrick. Like, not many teams that stop that.
No, that's true.
So I think your offense has to win this game for you against arguably top 3 defenses in the league.
Their offense. I mean, Spagnuolo is a great defensive coordinator. I don't see the Texans scoring a lot of points. They'll score and they'll get their plays. I mean, as I said, I think Kansas City wins. The thing with Kansas City, they haven't really blown anybody out this year. So that's the only reason I'm saying it's not going to be a blowout.
They haven't.
When I say close, I'm saying, 7-10 points. I don't think it'll be a 3-point game, but I don't think it's going to get to a field goal game. Let me put it that way.
No, not at all. And, a big factor on this is how cold is it going to be in Kansas City this weekend? Because it could be 2 degrees or it could be 60 degrees.
That's true. That's true. And the same, that's the thing with Buffalo. It could be snowing. Hell, who knows, man? I mean, some of these games are outside, but they play well in the snow. So
they do. And Baltimore has played in cold games already. Yeah. I'm not worried about that. Texans play in Houston, Texas with a dome.
That's true.
So I think it's just a different animal. But I am interested to see. It would be awesome to see the Texans keep up, but there's just no path that I can see besides an offensive shootout where the Texans are somehow keeping up for this game to go the Texans' way. It's just not, and it's not going to go that way. The defense for the Chiefs is too good.
I don't see any path for them to win. I mean, I think they limped into the playoffs, had a great game this weekend, but I don't see them doing much here.
Absolutely. All right, Bunk. Well, that is our recap and preview on all the games. Anything else you want to touch on there for the NFL?
No, the only thing to say, I think looks like McCarthy's not going to go back to the Cowboys, so we'll see where he goes. I wonder if he goes to the Bears. Maybe I know the Bears wanted to talk to him. Cowboys said no, but now he's not under contract anymore. So
anybody can talk to him now.
And I'm assuming that we kind of talked about it a little before the podcast. I'm thinking maybe he opted out and decided, hey, I want to go see what else is out there. So good for him. It's going to be fun to see where the coaching carousel ends here. Who goes where? Talked about Rex Ryan. God, would the Jets bring him back? I mean, they might. He's kind of what they need. Man, we haven't had a good big mouth coach in the NFL in a long time. We have a smart ass over in Philly. We don't have a big mouth yet. We need a big mouth back.
Need to get a big mouth.
So that'll be fun to watch.
Here's the thing with that, Dallas. That the microscope's going to be put in on out there in Boulder, Colorado.
I don't see that. I don't see that happening at all, man. I know you guys have talked about that. I don't see any way on earth that the Cowboys bring Sanders in.
I do. Jerry Jones owns the team and runs it.
I just don't see it, man. And plus they have their quarterback already locked up, and Sanders ain't going anywhere if his son's not going to be there. So I think that's a no-go.
I feel like the best coaching option was taken by New England. So where do these? And then Belichick's not. He already declined interviews to the NFL.
Yeah.
Who wants to go there? Who would want to go coach? I get it. The Cowboys are a draw because of the name.
Kellen Moore.
And the exposure.
Kellen Moore. He was there before.
He was there before and hated it.
I know. I wouldn't want to coach there. You have an owner that runs the team. I mean, somebody will take it. And it's, they have talent. They have stuff there, but you got to put up with Jerry Jones, and that's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, and the zoo that comes with Jerry Jones.
Maybe Jimmy Johnson will go back. That would be funny.
Oh my God, that'd be a horrible.
Would
idea.
That be crazy or not?
So bad.
Ooh, damn.
He's got the Lego hairpiece on.
Oh my God,
Probably takes it off.
Friggin' ridiculous. Yeah. Think about that one though. Wouldn't that surprise you?
My God, that was out of nowhere, and
I know.
It made me laugh.
Had to do it. We'll see. We'll keep track of it and see what we come up with.
All right. Well, I do want to touch on MLB. It is coming up. We at the end of this month we'll start to see pitchers and catchers. So like 3 weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting, which is awesome to see. One thing that did come out, the MLB did ban those 2 fans that stole the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove in the World Series. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, what idiots.
Permanent ban.
I know, but they're freaking idiots. Come on. Good for them. Ban their asses. That was stupid.
That was okay. I'm with you. That was kind of stupid. But another news though, and it's sadder news. Former O's pitcher Matus, or I'm not sure how he used to say it, but he passed away this weekend.
Yeah, it was 37. Yeah. I saw that.
Yes.
That's
they're not sure what happened yet. I'm sure those baseball guys, man, a lot of it comes down to the grind of baseball. Comes down to a lot of like overdosing on pain medication.
Yeah.
Those guys kind of get hooked on it because 162 games, you're playing every day. You're going to hurt every day.
No, I agree. And I don't want to speculate, but he was pretty young. Something out of the ordinary happened. Yeah. I mean, obviously that's way too young just to naturally die.
Right.
So something happened, whether he was sick or they haven't really given much information on it, so who knows?
No, it's really sad to see. But yeah, definitely thoughts and prayers out to that family for sure. That was kind of crazy deal. Last thing here, the Jays added a reliever. Did you see this?
Who they add?
They added reliever, 3 years, $33 million. So they're going to pay him $11 million a year. For a guy that was like middle relief last year from the Phillies.
Really?
So I don't know, man. He had a lot of saves and stuff for the Phillies, but kind of got bounced out of there. He went 3-3 this past last year. He had a 2.17 ERA, which is awesome, but only 10 saves. Why would you spend that much money on relief when your team needs a starter?
They haven't really signed anybody. I mean, I think they came to an agreement with Vladdy for another year. They actually haven't signed. They've not been successful signing people. I think they've tried to sign people, high, big name guys. I don't know. I think they have not improved at all.
No.
And that's sad. They had a young team that looked like they were going to dominate for a long time, kind of like the Orioles, and they have not done anything. The Orioles are another team. They're not the young kids on the block anymore. Those guys have been playing for a while too. They need to step it up and try to do something too. But they're very active out there though in free agencies, and they're constantly signing people. The Jays just, I don't know, man. They just don't seem to get anybody.
What are they? It's weird because we saw them in these past few years, like willingly spend a lot of money to bring in guys, front end of the rotation guys to play third base. And like, I get it, but why are you going to spend, why is your big signing somebody that you wasn't closing last year that you're going to put in a closing role?
Yeah, it is weird. I don't know. I don't think they're going to improve much. I don't think they're going to be much improved though, to be honest with you.
No, I don't either. Honestly, I feel like they're going to be even behind Tampa, and Tampa hasn't done much this year either. They brought in a catcher. They brought in Jansen, which has always been a problem for Tampa, and that's going to be a much better option behind the plate. But Tampa hasn't brought any infielders in. Their outfield is a mess right now. They need to figure out. They have one guy in the outfield.
Yeah,
they're going to have to start playing some of the position players. I guess infield players are going to have to take some time in the outfield stuff. But Why not just go get an outfield? That's what always kills me about them is that there's outfielders out there that you don't have to spend $10 million on that will improve the team. And they're just not, they just won't make that move. So that's a little bit aggravating for me. And I did say one last thing, but I actually have one last thing. Freaking Justin Verlander got another contract. You see that?
Giants.
It's going out west with the Giants.
He still throws hard though, man. He's still a good pitcher, but he's got at some point it's got to almost be it. They signed him for 1 year. So they're taking kind of a chance on him.
Who else is on that team? So you're taking a 1 year chance on Verlander with no one around that. Like that team's not going to be the best team next year either.
No, I mean, I think isn't Scherzer still out there, free market in the free agency? I don't think Scherzer's signed with anybody. He's another guy.
He's done.
Yeah, those guys are at the end of their careers. They, I mean, I get it. 1 year signing, see how he does. He came back this past season and just got hammered, which is very unusual. So we'll see. Had a full winter to kind of redo himself. But I don't think we're going to see a lot of signings now I'm hoping we start seeing more. I mean, spring training is getting ready to start here in a month or so. So they need to kind of step it up. There's a lot of free agents still out there.
Yeah. So who are the big, I guess, the top 50 free agents here? I'm looking at it. Who ESPN has them on here, but of course Soto already signed. Roki Sasaki still hasn't signed yet. He's the guy coming over from Japan. I mean, he's not going to have like a huge deal, so we'll see. I don't think he's going to come in to really help anybody. Corbin Burns, I mean, where he hasn't signed yet either, has he? So where is he going to go?
I mean, you got a lot of.
Burns
signed.
Did sign, right?
Got
Burns signed.
Bregman's out there still. Yeah. Santander, Alonso's still out there. I don't know what's going to happen to him.
Man, that style of baseball is kind of dying, though. How he plays a home run or bust is kind of dying out.
And I was surprised they really hit him on the. Granted, I didn't see him make a lot of errors, but there's they don't rate him very high in defense. Which the games I saw, he looked for first base, he looked okay to me. I mean, you're getting him for his bat. I thought he'd signed by now. I'm curious to see if he goes back to the Mets. I don't think he will. I was thinking maybe he goes out to San Francisco as well. I don't know.
San Francisco needs if they're going to make a run. I know they signed Adames, but they don't really have much else on that team. There's a few pieces, but it's just they need to either. You would think that they would make a bunch of moves to improve the team, but they're not. They're not. Like, not very many teams are making.
Yankees that's what I'm saying.
Made the most moves.
It's almost got to be. It almost has to come. Like, there's got to be a flurry here coming. I mean, I don't know what I'm sure there's a lot of back office stuff going on. I thought Bregman would have signed by now. I mean,
yeah,
I would have honestly. I thought Alonso would have signed. Santander would have signed. I mean, those guys are they're all good players. So I don't know. Maybe they're getting offers they don't want. I don't know who their agents are. Something's holding it back, but it's kind of weird to not see some of these guys signed. And you got some of the older guys too. I mean, JD Martinez is out there. Got my boy Doogie. Doogie's still out there.
He's gonna make a comeback to the Bronx.
Hey, I'll say this: the guy can play defense, man. He's a very good defensive outfielder. He didn't do much at bat, but he is a very good defensive outfielder. And he'll help somebody. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys out there that haven't signed. So, I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm getting excited about baseball. It's coming.
It's almost here. We're almost there. All right, Bunk. Any obscure sports things going on in your world that you've followed at all?
Not that I've kept up with.
Outside the big ones we talk about.
I haven't. To be honest, I've been kind of focused in on the football at this point. So I haven't really kept up with some of the other things out there. So I'm gonna have to give you a waiver and a pass on that one.
All right. Well, I'm going to take it. How about that? It seems that in New Orleans, and I know this is a big four basketball, that Zion Williamson is wearing out his welcome. He's keeps getting. Um, sorry about that background. The sickies are around. I'm just kidding. um, but it just feels like he's worn out his welcome. He got suspended again for being late to the plane flight to get to one of the games, and he was such a big name coming out of college, and he really has done nothing.
Dude is a mess. He's always been a mess. His personal life part of it's been a mess. The whole, yeah. It's not like been just like a year. He's been out for a while. I mean, he's been in the NBA for a long time. Never plays. Made a crap load of money. Why these teams keep signing him? God knows why. He's definitely got issues. Talent. But he doesn't play. He never plays. So I don't know. I think it's ridiculous. These guys. Obviously, that his NBA is not his number one thing on his mind. Like I say, no, he's got other things he's looking to do or wanting to do, and he honestly should just go do them.
Yeah. Next up, next thing is LeBron came out and said he has 5 to 8 more years in him.
Yeah, LeBron, he don't have no 5 or 8 years. Why does he want to do that?
I'll tell you what, he scores though.
He does, but why would you want to keep playing? I don't understand.
They don't. That's their identity.
Yeah, but
what do they have?
He has other stuff though. He's all over the place. He's on every freaking TV channel. Got millions of things going on. He does not need basketball at this point in his life. So and the Lakers suck. So I don't see it happening.
They're not good.
They're not good.
I could see 2 to 3 more years, but he's still top half of the league in scoring. He's very
amazing. Good. No, he's still very good. I'm not saying that he's not very good, but I guess I'm saying why do you still want to play? He has nothing to prove.
Why did Brett Favre still want to play?
Brett Favre's an ass, though. And not that I'm a big Bronny fan. Don't get me wrong, but Brett Favre is a freak. That guy's got some issues, man.
But you know what I mean. You could put any older name there.
I know, because that's
until he was 42.
You know, that's their identity, I guess, and
that's got to be the feeling here too. Well, it's got to be so hard to walk away from it.
I guess. Plus, they're getting millions. They keep getting throwing friggin'
so much money,
millions at them. I agree.
He's probably getting so much more money outside of basketball that the team money is probably just like spending.
God, he doesn't need the money.
He has so many deals.
I know.
It's ridiculous. All right, last thing I do want to in the world of soccer. Austin did sign a very, very good striker in Brandon Vasquez. They also signed a very good midfielder in Ilie Sanchez. So I think Austin could make a run next year.
Nice.
We might be seeing a much better team.
That'd be fun.
We'll see.
We'll have to hit another game. Nice.
I'm tired. Brandon Vasquez played for the senior men's national team for the U.S. Like, he is a very good player. He went overseas. Well, I guess overseas. He went to Mexico to play and got sat a whole bunch. He's trying to find playing time so he can get to Europe. It's like a perfect storm. He's going to give 110% because honestly, he wants to be in Europe. That's where you get paid. That's where you get the most exposure in those European leagues. But in the MLS, that stepping stone, he can come in and just dominate. And Austin might actually score goals this year, which has been the problem for the past 2 years is scoring goals. Even that game we went and watched, they were defending the whole time. They were
that's true.
Defending the whole game. There was no forward movement. So I'll be optimistically watching that team this year. They might have a breakout year this year for sure.
Nice. That'd be great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Bunk, that is all I've got for obscure sports. I haven't looked into, I know Big G wanted us to look into like ESPN the Ocho style sports yet.
I haven't looked at
haven't got those yet.
I haven't looked at those.
Haven't quite got there yet.
We'll put them in the agenda, but we haven't seen it yet.
Absolutely. But if you don't have anything else, I'm good over here.
Sounds good. Let's take her home.
All right, everyone. Well, if you enjoyed this, like always, definitely give us that like, give us a review there. If you have any questions for us, send them into the Bunk and Pick podcast at gmail.com. Check out the social medias. We're really, really excited for this year to kind of expand and bring more content to all of you and just kind of have fun, right? We started this podcast about a year ago. It's been a year there,
It
Bunk,
has
which is pretty
been. It's
crazy.
crazy.
We started just a way for all of us to connect together, and it's growing into something that we've really come to love and kind of part of our daily life, which is pretty cool to see. And we hope you guys have kind of got that passion from us, and there's more to come. So definitely stay tuned. But as always, until next week, we will be
rolling balls. Hey, a shout out to Uncle George. He rolls a nice ball.
Oh my God.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.